Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Odd Ducklings, and it's a very odd one. This episode is just about introduction to this week. It's not Monday, so it's a bit weird to call it introduction to this week, but this is the day that I start my 7 days challenge. One of the things you might know, maybe like experience, ADHDs are very good at last minute. They're also very good at being a bit perfectionist, and I am no exception. So one of the worst things that I do every time I want to have a video come out is that I overstress everything. I over take so long to feel comfortable with the product that I want to put out. It takes me so long to actually get to the point where I'm feeling comfortable with getting something out. And honestly, it's very clear to me that it takes me longer than it should to do the editing, to do the recording, all of the above. When I'm doing an interview, then we're doing an interview that's usually 2 hours long, and I need to kind of get the essence of it and put it down to 45 minutes or an hour. And a lot of times that doesn't make sense because I need to lose a lot of things. And I know a lot of other creators, they kind of have these extra in like other platforms where you can pay extra to get to see the full thing. Obviously, we're not there. This is a very small, very like staggering channel, to say the least. So we're nowhere near doing that, but what we are is experimenting. So this would be experiment number one. Basically, today I'm going to talk about what is this challenge, why I decided to do the challenge, and what am I expecting to get out of it. And ideally, if you guys can give me some feedback, because honestly, that's what I'm always missing. I grew a lot from the first episodes that I've done, so much so that there's episodes that I'm feeling a bit hard to kind of release. Um, you'll note that the last release was a very, very long while ago. And there's a good reason for that. I actually went through a lot of things personally in my personal life, and I had to take a break. That being said, getting back on the horse once these things are done was near impossible for me. And this is part of this. What is this challenge? Basically, in the next 7 days, I am going to release one episode per day. One episode per day doesn't mean it needs to be a long episode. With the exception of this episode specifically, that is just talking about the concept, the next 6 days will have a subject that I will cover. I already have a lot of research kind of sitting. In that sense, it's not like this is going to be a junk sort of content. This is me giving you the short version, the quick version of something that I've been holding on and trying and wanting to put out for a while. The first and like most important reason is I want to be able to do this quicker. As I said before, I dwell on a lot of details. I procrastinate. I decide that, oh yeah, I need to do this or that. And like I find some specific thing that is like the most important thing that I need to do. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Uh, so a lot of this is getting myself out of this like perfectionist situation, making sure that I publish something, even if it's like not great. I'm pretty sure this one will be not great.
Sorry, not sorry.
Anyway, we're going to be editing this. It's going to be fine. There might be some background noise. I don't know. I'm testing this for the first time. It's been with me also over a year, I think, but I've never used it because I've only used my setup inside. Maybe this is not ideal. Maybe it's lovely. We'll see when we get to editing. But this is kind of the point. I had so many small ideas, like how do it, like, and I didn't do it. Basically, the challenge itself is the next 7 days. I am going to just make an episode every day. And it's going to be probably, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes per episode. We're not going to go the entirety of 45 minutes to an hour that usually that page has. Mostly because I feel like shorter content is valid and it's like important to have. This specific video might not be as long. I'm not trying to like cover any subject. There's not a lot of things. This is just an introduction to something that we're already doing. Wow, there's so much background noise. I hope it works. So basically, why am I doing this? Why is this challenge relevant? like getting things done quicker and realizing what is the dead weight that I've been carrying on the editing process. So secondly, getting shit done. Hope I don't have to mute this over for YouTube. We'll see. But as a creator, I have been a very cautious creator. And I think it hasn't done me any favors. It means I've worked for so long and produced so little. And it means that as someone who produced so little, I don't really do it well. I haven't learned as much. There's a story that I love. You've probably heard it, but if you haven't, a teacher basically splits the class in two. It gives first half the challenge of making the perfect pottery. They can only do one. They need to work on it throughout the entire year. So you have an entire year to just make one pot. Group, which is the more interesting one, is the group that had to make one every day. In that sense, you're asking which pot came out nicer, who was a better potterer. How would you say? I don't know. Like, who was better at pottery, the first group or the second group? And it's pretty clear cut that the person, like the people that spent every day doing again and again and again, were actually the people that got to the point that they can do it better. They can do it fast. They understand the details. And the funny thing is, when it comes to my work, I find it so easy to do that. I find it so easy to just get going, do something, research, like try something, show to somebody. It's something that I find so easy to do when it's not for me or it's not my passion project, because this is what this is. Odd Ducklings is basically just my passion project. And then I couldn't do it with this. And what else do we want to kind of get here? Basically, another thing is to ideally get your feedback. I really would have liked to learn from you guys, like what worked, what didn't work. Is this background and potential noise that you're listening to better than my studio? Is short content better? Obviously, we're going to try a couple of things. When I say we, it's probably only going to be me in these recordings, but maybe I'll tag someone along. It's a 1 week and I'm away from home, so I don't know exactly if I could. But me and Katie have been working on a couple of things, so that might be integrated into this. But we're going to try more things. So we're not just going to try to make the same kind of episode. We're going to try to find our voice, because just like any other channel, any other creator, we need to get to understand who we are. If you've ever followed any creator from a pretty recent stage until like the point where they got so many followers, a lot of what it was is they found who they are and how they sound. I like most watching Abroad in Japan. Basically, Chris Broad has shown a couple of videos from his first videos, and it's such a different personality, such a different kind of video, and a lot of what he gets out today is what I really like. I also try to learn from different YouTubers that I find interesting. I'm not stopping, I hope. I don't think they have. Obviously, I'm also fidgety because this is uncomfortable. And that kind of, maybe that's my fourth point. I did not make these points. Part of this is forcing it. I did not plan this week. I have like a general idea, a list of ideas and thoughts I can put into a video. I can articulate into, here's the research, here's what I learned, here's what I think, etc. But I am not prepared for this. That being said, wish me luck. I do hope it comes out nicely. And I do hope the product itself will actually eliminate the amount of noise, because I don't know, I really hope you don't hear it, because I hear so much noise. So much noise. Just to kind of summarize this, I want to come back to why Odd Ducklings kind of came to be. It's a bit of a reminder for me and not just for you. When I started the whole idea with Odd Ducklings, it started with when I got the diagnosis that I got, when I got this, wait, I'm neurodivergent. Is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? What does it say about me? But old, let's not get into exactly how old, very old. And I've reached a certain point in my career where I can very openly say I'm ADHD, I have PMDD, I have like whatever acronym, whatever title I want to give there. There's no real issue with me doing that, mostly because I've already established my ability as a professional. But I know people who are younger don't necessarily have that. And I do appreciate that it's not a privilege that everybody has. So I wanted to start having this conversation regarding what are careers that people are having as neurodivergent. Even though I started from the idea of a career, one thing that really happened quickly was that we realized that we're not just talking about careers. We're talking about achievements. We're talking about feeling established and not like it's not nobody is like in their final stage. But I had the honor to have conversations with writers, more established, less established, people who just started a business and it went so brilliantly that they now have so many people working under them just because they found it hard to continue from the place where they were, where their mind was challenged, and they didn't want to go back to being in an office in the normal sense. They wanted to bring something else forward. We are focusing to an extent on work. Right. Who you are as a professional is very much who you are. Like it's another angle to who you are as a person in general. And because of that, we're not only talking about who you are in the workspace and how that kind of helps. We are going to be talking about all sorts of like matters of life. So, for example, one of the conversations that me and Katie had was what is actually sitting in your home that is organized the way it is to kind of accommodate your neurodiversity. And in that sense, this is kind of the challenge that I want to do now. I want to be able to pick subjects that we all care about, that we want to talk about, but also kind of go back to how that brings us to be able to perform and to be people that are like functioning in society. I think it's really important. I think a lot of what the essence of Odd Ducklings is a community. I think there's more than enough communities out there talking about neurodiversity and specific neurodiversity specifically, and like most notably ADHD. But talking about this as a like an umbrella situation where we don't focus on one thing. We don't just focus on ADHD. We just focus on how do we make things accessible? How do we build communication that is making things better? How do we build a workspace or like a home space that could accommodate our needs, even if it's a bit weird? Um, and most importantly, how do we pass this on in a way that would teach others to kind of like participate in this in the same way? So, in a very long-winded way, basically what I'm saying is the fifth point here is trying to find how we talk about neurodiversity without um, just focusing on careers, because we are going to continue to have more interviews. There's already a few coming, but there's other ways to be talking about it that would impact your career, that would impact your life, but do not necessarily impact. It's not very easy to see just how it impacts your career. So we're going to try and focus on a few things that are a bit like in the perimeters. Maybe I'll focus a bit about specific situations that I kind of researched. I had a few interesting research regarding hormonal situations. Was very focused on that because I specifically have PMDD, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. I hope this is a decent episode. I know it's a bit short. I don't know if the next ones are going to be as long or longer or whatever. Um, if you can, bear with me, like, share, whatever. This channel is very much at the beginning of being whatever it is. We would like feedback. There's more people that I want to bring on. So when I say we, it's not like the colloquial. It's like we really want to make this more of a community. It's not about Daria is talking to you. It's about Odd Ducklings. So it's multiple Odd Ducklings. Some of them are visible, like Katie, that you may have seen in the previous episode, but some of them are not just yet. Some of them are just helping in the background. Eventually, depending on how they feel about it, some of them will be announced, some won't. But yeah, That's it. Wish me luck. 7 days. It's a lot of days, and I hope I can make it. Let's see if I post this today. All right. Stay out, everyone. Bye.